Just off State Route 32 in rural Winchester, Indiana, is one of racing's historic treasures, the world's fastest paved half-mile. 2013 marks the 24th visit of the ARCA Racing Series to historic Winchester Speedway. Last year's winner, Alex Bowman, has moved on to NASCAR. That leaves the door wide open for a new winner. Current points leader Frank Kimmel has won 5 times at Winchester. He'll be gunning for win number 6 here today and an all-time series record 79th victory. Strap in to see this year's ARCA Warriors go head-to-head on the high banks at the Herr's Chase the Taste 200 from Winchester Speedway. The 2013 ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards on the NBC Sports Network.
Great day of racing coming up here at Winchester Speedway. Jim Trado, the short tracks, we love them, and it ought to be wild.
And the great thing about it is we've got a veteran leading the points in Frank Kimmel at 51 years of age. But I counted 7 teenagers in this race. They're very fast based on practice speeds. It's going to be a great race.
It'll be a battle here. Now, tire management will be key today. They start with 10 tires in the pit stall. When do you change them? How many do you take?
That's the big question, because strategy has played out in the past, in recent past here in the series, where they've taken 4 tires early to get track position. But with only that many tires in the pits, maybe 1, 2 stops, when do you take the 4 and when do you take the 2? And you have to live with what you have at the end of the race.
And of course, at a place like this, caution periods will be key. How many of them and when do they fall in the event?
ARCA, the Automobile Racing Club of America, was founded in 1953 by John Markham in Toledo, Ohio. "60 years on and hundreds of thousands of racing miles later, ARCA is recognized as one of the most diverse sanctioning bodies in motorsports. ARCA annually takes its teams to tracks ranging in size from just under a half mile to more than 2.5 miles in length. ARCA races on both paved and dirt tracks. They go left and right as well on street and road courses. The race cars weigh 3,400 pounds. They're full steel-bodied stock cars. The ARCA Racing Series brings together a pretty interesting group of drivers. Doctors and lawyers, mechanics and accountants all have a chance. A typical field of entrants might include drivers from 18 states and as many as 3 different countries. Notables who've raced in ARCA include 9-time champion Frank Kimmel, in action here today, and the legendary Iggy Katona with 6 series championships. He's the all-time winningest driver in ARCA. Now, this year marks a new era in coverage of the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. The NBC Sports Network airing 4 events from this year's schedule. All racing action for the dedicated ARCA race fan to truly enjoy.
One of the cool elements of the ARCA Racing Series, all the history at a lot of the racetracks. One of those, of course, Winchester Speedway. Almost 100 years of racing history. Jim, this place built in 1913.
Amazing to know it was a flat track at one point in time, but these banks are daunting. Famous drivers have come through this gate: Foyt, Andretti, Parnelli.
And by Scott Brand, Scott Prep and Cleanup Solutions for contractors, do-it-yourselfers, and moms, all available at Menards.
Busy race weekend here at Winchester. Of course, this track nearly 100 years old. They ran a late model race here last night. Then we had more rain this morning, so this is what you would call a green racetrack. Not a lot of rubber laid down by these cars that would stick today.
Right, even the 100-lap race last night, that rubber's gone. All Hoosier Chod tires in the ARCA Racing Series and the other divisions that ran here. So, indeed, it is a green track. It's an interesting track as well because there's no track quite like Winchester.
Oh, man, the high banks here, 34 degrees. Very, very fast half mile. They call this, in fact, the world's fastest half mile. You get a little sense of how steep the banking is as our field comes through turns 3 and 4 on a pace lap. Let's check your starting lineup. This field lined up according to car owner points because qualifying was rained out earlier in the weekend. But the 9-time series champ Frank Kimmel from Clarksville, Indiana, will have the pole today in the Ansel Menards Toyota. That's the yellow car, number 44. Alongside him from Brentwood, Tennessee, the Diamond Equipment Machine. That's the Wintron car for young Mason Mingus in car number 32. Row number 2 on the inside from Easley, South Carolina. And age 15, car number 15, one of the Venturini entries, Kyle Benjamin. You like him a lot, don't you?
He was the fastest kid in both practice sessions. He was here on Monday. He will be one to watch in that white 15 car.
That is the Torque Chevrolet alongside the veteran Tom Hessert III from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. That's one of the Cunningham Dodges, the 77 car, the Barbara's Autoland machine today. Back to row number 3 from Austin, Texas, another one of the young guns, the AM Technical Solutions Dodge. Austin Self, that's the other Cunningham car, and another of the Venturini Motorsports entries alongside Justin Boston from Baltimore, Maryland, car number 25. That's the Sloop Computer and Electronics Recycling Toyota. 4th row, Mason Mitchell in the 99, one of the Rullo Brothers Fords. Brennan Poole, the Break the Cycle Toyota, another Venturini entry. Milka Duno from Venezuela will start 9th, and Brad Lloyd from Napa, California, and the Steve Flynn Attorney Ford. That's car number 69. These are 3,400-pound race cars. They run 358 cubic inch motors, making north of 825 horsepower. These are fast race cars. Let's pick up our starting lineup. Back to the 6th row. Thomas Prater from Mobile, Alabama, in the Realtor 2 car. That is a Chevrolet. Josh Williams alongside from Port Charlotte, Florida, the Allegiant Chevrolet, and that is the 23 car. Josh Williams, one of the quicker cars in practice.
He thinks he has more speed in it, filling in for Spencer Gallagher on the men. He should be back in Chicagoland, but a great opportunity for Josh Williams out of Port Charlotte, Florida.
Back to the 7th row, the veteran Roger Carter from Sumfield, Michigan. That's a Chrysendaryl.com Dodge, the 97. And another veteran of the series from Henryville, Indiana, Daryl Basham in the 34, the Orchard Chrysler Chevrolet. 8th row, Cody Lane from Port Richey, Florida, the Carter 2 Motorsports Dodge. That's the 40. And James Swanson from Clarksboro, New Jersey, the GreatRailing.com Ford, the 06. Back to the 9th row, a guy we've seen in these starting grids for, gosh, I don't know, 40-some years, 50 years, James Harvey Hilton from South Carolina in that 48.
78 years young. He says this is his last year of racing. He and his son, James Jr., the crew chief, they have traveled this circuit all season long, looking for a great final run by James Harvey, the 1966 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Rookie of the Year.
There you go. And alongside Hilton, outside the 9th row, Dave Savicki from Clinton, New York. The other Rullo Brothers Ford, that's the 17 that Chris Buescher won the championship here in ARCA with 1 year ago.
And the focus is with these 2 cars from Rullo Brothers, they're actually going to focus on the 99, racing every race, every lap. Mason Mitchell, who's up in the top 10 of the starters, so that really has changed the focus. But hey, they had a great win with Buescher in their team car at Road America.
All right, back to the 10th row, Will Kimmel, the Bill Kimmel Racing Ford. That's the Clarksville Schwinn car, the 68. Alongside starting 20th, Blake Hilliard from Owensboro, Kentucky. That is his own Chevrolet. Wayne Peterson in the 0 from Pulaski, Tennessee, the Wayne Peterson Chevrolet. Kyle Weatherman from Wentzville, Missouri, the Rogers Automotive Dodge. Andy Hillenberg's car, that's the 11. They were very fast in practice because they don't have many owner points. They've got to start toward the tail end. He's a young driver we'll watch closely today. Chris Bailey from South Park, Pennsylvania, the Roush 8's used parts Ford, one of the Kimmel Racing entries. That's the 67. He'll round out the starting lineup in the 23rd spot. Caution still waving. Laps are counting. 3 are on the board. When we come back, hopefully we'll be ready to drop the green and go racing. The ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards in Winchester. Back at Winchester Speedway, Winchester, Indiana, the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards, the Herr's 200. I'm Rick Benjamin, Jim Trado alongside. Field seeing 1 lap till green. Jim will have run 10 laps with the green and the yellow waving simultaneously to finish the track drying effort here. Going to be set to strap in for 190 laps of excitement.
And believe it or not, Frank Kimmel does not like where he's starting right there. The inside line at Winchester is not the fast way around, so look for that battle to be decided early. Those are point contenders, and the owner's points, that's how it's lined up. 18-year-old Mason Mingus outside of the 51-year-old Frank Kimmel. Frank's been here a ton.
Hey, don't say anything bad about the 51-year-old.
I'm not.
Guys.
I'm just saying Frank's got all the experience. I think he'll want to get to that outside line ASAP, whether it be in front or behind that black 32.
Watching also the 3rd starter. The 15 is 3rd in owner points. Kyle Benjamin, because he's only 15 years of age, can't run all the races. Can't run the Speedway races yet, but he is great. He's won in late models here. Looking forward to seeing him get it done as well. Safety car heading for pit road. Looking for the green flag to wave. Our honorary starter today is James Romero won our green flag winner contest. He's from Fort Wayne. We're underway at Kimmel on the bottom, Mingus on the high side, battling for the lead onto the backstretch. Kimmel takes the lead, heading down into turn 3, the 9-time series champ. Only repeat winner so far. Mingus settles into second spot. Tom Hessert in the 77 runs third in front of Kyle Benjamin.
Tom Hessert won earlier this year at Salem Speedway, another Indiana short track. That's a high bank facility. That car is the one he won with. He's very good settling in here in third early on in that number 77.
There's your battle. The leader is Kimmel in the Menards Ansel Gloves 44. The 32, the Wintron machine of Mason Mingus. Diamond Equipment, 811 call before you dig. The sponsors on that Toyota. Your third place machine, Tom Hessert out of New Jersey. He's about 12 car lengths back. Battle back there is for 5th spot. You've got Justin Boston in the 25 on the inside. And on the high side, the 55 car, one of the other Venturini machines. That's Brennan Poole, one car off the pace on the bottom. That's James Hilton with problems early. The 67 of Chris Bailey also on pit road early on as we start to separate out the fast from the not so fast so
far. The brave run here at Winchester. These guys are really eclipsing this racetrack at very, very fast speeds here. These 3400-pound race cars, the right front is what's going to take the punishment first. So as fast as they're going, there's also tire conservation mode in the mindset of these drivers and crew chiefs.
Some extreme layover of these front wheels. The front end setups on these cars very aggressive. A lot of caution from Hoosier Tire, the official tire supplier of the ARCA Racing Series, to run enough tire pressure in that right front.
And they've actually adjusted the start pressure on those right front Hoosier radial tires, 2 more pounds, 3 more pounds for these teams to start at a certain pressure, knowing that will help these teams not have a tire issue.
Frank Kimmel by about 10 car lengths over Mason Mingus as the leader's arrow down into turn 1. Hessert third in that 77 as we watch Brendan Poole in the 55. Now Poole, who started back in the 9th spot, he's gained the most ground already. He is up to 5th position as the 68 of Will Kimmel is headed for pit road. So several cars with problems early in the going as we close in on lap 20 here at Winchester.
And you see them stringing out, but they're also feeling each other out. During the practice sessions yesterday, Rick, I noticed that some of the teams went out together on purpose, whether it be Tom Hessert following Frank Kimmel, gauging the number 15 and the 55. Teammates at Venturini, different driving lines for Brendan Poole and the 15 machine of Kyle Benjamin. Those drivers very, very much anticipate being in the top 5 all race long.
Good battle here for 6th and 7th, the 22 car. That's Austin Self out of Austin, Texas, the 25. Justin Boston in this Luke machine. Good battle for position there. Self takes over 6th as we watch Kimmel now. Lap traffic's going to be a factor, Jim Trado, here in the very near future. Kimmel on the backstretch. He's about to close in on the tail enders.
Attending the drivers' meeting, they did say lap cars or cars that are a bit off the pace go to the bottom. Right now, there's 2 wide in front of our race leader.
Kimmel down the front straightaway, closing in on the 97 of Chris Bailey. Bailey will drop to the bottom. The 2 car of Thomas Prater also there, and those 2 cars being shown 15th and 16th in the running order as Kimmel puts them a lap down early. James Harvey Hilton in the 48 on the bottom of the racetrack. Looks like he's headed for pit road yet again. Kimmel is your leader, opening the gap up now over Mason Mingus. He's stretched into about 15 car lengths as the 9-time series champion tries to make some ARCA history today. He would tie the great Iggy Katona as the all-time win leader in the series with 79 if he can get it done here at Winchester Speedway.
This could be a historic day in the ARCA Racing Series. Frank Kimmel is a 5-time winner here at Winchester. He's got his sights set on ARCA Racing Series victory number 79. Legend Iggy Katona currently holds the all-time ARCA record with 79 career wins. Kimmel needs 1 more to tie. If he can get the job done today at Winchester, history would be written.
Back at Winchester Speedway, 24 laps are complete under caution for the first time today because the 10 car of Blake Hilliard spun over in turn 2. Quick pit stop for Hilliard. They make a wedge adjustment on that car. He's from Owensboro, Kentucky, one of Wayne Peterson's cars. And Hilliard will head back onto the speedway. Here's what happened as the leader, Frank Kimmel, was coming to turn 2. Hilliard just got on the gas a little too quickly off 2.
And that's right where Blake spun yesterday, Rick. Unfortunately for those guys, they had limited track time. John Hayden and the crew rebuilt the left rear corner. Limited track time, bit him again here off of turn 2. A tricky spot on the racetrack for Blake.
Hilliard getting back up onto the speedway, and he will go a lap or 2 down in the exchange, but he is able to continue with 24 laps on the board. Safety car. Pit road is open. Safety car in front of the leader, Kimmel. A couple of cars. Thomas Prater will head to pit road early. The 06 also on pit road. That's James Swanson's machine. Prater being pushed back into his pit box. A little problem there. As this Loop 25 of Justin Boston. Now, they were one of the front-running cars. What's the problem there, Jim?
Team is saying they may have ignition issues or distributor issues on the number 25 for Justin Boston. Again, coming in this series, 6th in the point standings. They're hoping to click off more top 5 runs. His best runs this year, a pair of 4ths. This is huge.
Darrell Basham heading out of pit road, off pit road in the 34. Prater heading back out. Now the Allegiant Airlines 23, Josh Williams from Florida, expecting a good run today. He makes a quick pit stop. A little early, Jim. You were telling me the pit window here probably 60, 70 laps.
65 to 70, and we see that the number 23 Allegiant Air Chevrolet has come down pit road now for the 2nd time. And Josh Williams again filling in for Spencer Gallagher, the regular driver. That team still maintaining a very strong position in 12th in the owner's point standings. But issues here for a team that was very confident with their driver getting more speed yet out of that car than he showed in practice yesterday.
So Justin Boston, a championship contender, and the 23 of Williams, both with their hoods up. Never a good sign early as 25 laps are complete. We'll come back with more at Winchester Speedway. Winchester Speedway, Winchester, Indiana. The ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards on the NBC Sports Network alongside Jim Trado. I'm Rick Benjamin. Early in the going here, we ran 10 laps under caution in green, counting those laps. And a lot of rain here this weekend in Winchester. Trying to dry the racetrack and get this race underway and complete on this Sunday afternoon. Frank Kimmel has led all the way. He's the series point leader, the 9-time champion. He will have he gets the choice on the front row. He's picked the outside, Jim.
Well, as a reminder to the viewers, this is actually how ARCA does it. Lead lap cars on the outside, lap down cars, 1 or more laps down on the inside. It's the old school kind of way, but Frank gets that spot he wants. He wants to be on the outside of that front row on the restart.
Green flag is in the air. Kimmel takes him to the stripe. Mingus in the 32, Hessert in the 77, Benjamin in the 15, and the 55 car next in line. That's Brendan Poole up from 9th. The 22 car, Austin Self's machine, getting into the mix as well as they hit turn 3. Kimmel stretches that lead out again. Half a dozen car lengths quickly over the 32 of Mingus. Good battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. The 3rd place car, Tom Hessert out of New Jersey in the 77. The 2 Venturini cars, Benjamin in the 15, Poole in the 55, and Self in the 22, putting on a great battle among the top 6. And here comes the 99 car. Mason Mitchell next in line in the Rouleau Brothers Ford.
Those are all teenagers, by the way.
Yeah.
They're all in their teens. The 15 of Kyle Benjamin became the youngest ever series pole winner at Toledo Speedway in that half mile earlier this year at age 15, leading that number 55 of Brendan Poole. Okay, he's 22, but that 22 machine of Austin Wayne Self, that kid is 16.
3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th in play, and right behind him, the 99 car we mentioned. That is the ride of Mason Mitchell and young Kyle Weatherman. The Andy Hillenberg car, the 11, started 20th. He's up in the top 10 already.
That young man has certainly got a lot of talent. I talked to Andy Hillenberg again. He's raced in the Indy 500. He's won an ARCA Racing Series championship. He is here spotting for that young man in the 11.
Austin Self in the 22 trying to get inside Brendan Poole in turn 3. This is for 5th spot. Poole uses the high side. A lot of drivers would rather be high here at Winchester, usually the fast way around. But look at this battle. Again, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th all in play. Kyle Benjamin in the 15 and 4th spot. Poole in the 55 and 5th spot. And then you've got the 22 of Self right there in 6th.
And Self ran a 100-lap late model race last night, so he's getting a little racy here on the bottom. But I was told you can't pass the 3 and 4. He's certainly trying to make it work.
Well, one thing about young drivers, teenage drivers in this series and in many others, generally they're fearless. That's a good thing in most cases, not in all cases, but we'll see how things develop. Up front, meantime, Frank Kimmel starting to face a little bit of a challenge. Mason Mingus in the 32 starting to reel him in as we watch that battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Here are your leaders over in turn 2. Kimmel in that bright yellow Menards 44, right behind the Mingus in the Wintron car. And then there's that battle 3rd through 6th down into turn 3.
Tom Hessert again in that car that's been so good here. That team, Cunningham Motorsports, has won the last 2 visits here at Winchester Speedway. That's the car that won both those races with Dakota Armstrong and young Alex Bowman behind the wheel here at Winchester in ARCA competition the last 2 years.
And both of those teenage drivers have advanced to NASCAR racing already. Alex Bowman making a name for himself in the NASCAR Nationwide Series this season with Robbie Benton's team. Battles for 3rd as we watch Hessert in the 77 trying to hold on against Kyle Benjamin. Leaders have caught lap traffic. Kimmel trying to work his way around Hilliard in the 10 and Prater in the 2, and he gets the job done. Mason Mingus has to be careful in the 32 to thread his way by on the high side off 4. Frank Kimmel continues to lead. He's led all 37 laps thus far here at Winchester Speedway. Black car in the 32, Mason Mingus' machine in 2nd spot. He's from Brentwood, Tennessee. And those 2 have started to stretch it out now, but the battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th continues to rage as we watch the leaders over at 1 and 2. Lap cars next in line. That's the 10 of Hilliard, the 2 of Prater. As they fight it out, Prater in 13th position, Hilliard in 16th, so they're not on the same lap. Leader out of turn 4, that's Kimmel. As he continues to whip the field here today, he's got about 7 or 8 car lengths over Mason Mingus. That gaggle of cars, 3rd through 7th now, as you've got the 55 of Poole, and you've got the 11 car of Kyle Weatherman getting into the mix, and there they are. Tom Hessert in that 77, working his way by the lap traffic, the 10 car of Hilliard, the 15 of Kyle Benjamin. That's 3rd and 4th. 5th spot belongs to the 22 of Austin Self from Texas. And the 55 of Brennan Poole, also a young Texan. And the 11 car of Kyle Weatherman from Wentzville, Missouri. We talked to Kyle Weatherman earlier, Jim Trado. Not a lot of experience in big cars, a lot of experience in Legends cars. He's won nearly 200 Legends races in his young career.
And he wanted to go racing in this series, so he went to Andy Hillenberg and said, I want to learn how to race this. They rented shop space. He's out of Missouri. His dad runs a very successful commercial and residential glass business. But they said, what is our next step? ARCA lets you come at 15 and race tracks like Winchester, Salem, and other great speedways. So Weatherman making the most of it. Finished 4th in his debut in this series at Salem Speedway a couple of months ago.
This battle for 3rd continues to rage. Tom Hessert in the 77 has the spot. Leader is Frank Kimmel as we put 43 laps on the board. Kimmel lapping by Milka Duno's machine, the 35. One of the other Venturini cars there is the 44, the Menards Toyota. Frank Kimmel, 9 series championships, 78 career victories, 1 shy of the all-time record. The 9 ARCA Racing Series championships for Kimmel, an all-time merit. There's your 2nd place car of Mason Mingus, the Wintron 32. 1-lapped car in the middle right now. That's the 23 of Josh Williams. The Allegiant Air Chevrolet had been to pit road a couple of times earlier. Mingus and the Dial 811 machine will go to the bottom and get by that lapped car.
You know, Frank Kimmel has 5 victories. Sorry, Rick. Frank Kimmel has 5 victories here at Winchester, most of any driver in the field or in the history of the ARCA Racing Series.
Over on the backstretch, that battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th continues. The 22 of Self now in the 15 of Benjamin for 4th spot. Austin Self in one of the Cunningham Dodges right alongside Kyle Benjamin as they come down into turn 1.
Gaining confidence is Austin Wayne Self. As young crew chief Chad Bryant works day to day with Paul Andrews in this Cunningham Motorsports effort. Talk about the young man with the star behind the double deuce. He is really showing some strength here. He was not comfortable yesterday in practice. His crew chief said he's still trying to find his way. This confidence is building lap after lap in that 22 machine.
He's found his way to 5th already. Austin Self, a young driver of whom much is expected, over in 2. Lap traffic again. Josh Williams in the 23 off the pace. The 77 of Tom Hessert III from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, continuing to hold that spot. But he's under heavy attack by Kyle Benjamin, Austin Self, Brendan Poole, Kyle Weatherman in the 11. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, all together. 7th spot as well, right there as they head down into turn 3. Closing on lap number 50, Frank Kimmel continues to lead in the 44. He's been out front all the way so far here at Winchester Speedway under cloudy skies in Winchester, Indiana. Welcome back. The ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Winchester Speedway in Winchester, Indiana. The start of our 4-race schedule here on the NBC Sports Network. So far, it's been a Frank Kimmel benefit as we get past the 50-lap mark. Right behind him, though, is Mason Mingus. Now, we lined up the field today for just joining us, according to car owner points. Qualifying rained out here earlier in the weekend, Jim Trado. I think Kimmel maybe a bit of an advantage here for the 5-time winner at this racetrack. He's got to like the view he's got out the front windshield as we watch Mingus trying to cut into that lead.
And, Rick, a telling sign of how Frank Kimmel is so consistent in this series, it's not always the fastest car, but Frank was given that benefit of starting on row number 1. When he went out there and did his 2-lap mock qualifying run in the final practice session, he was no better than 6th. So this is really a gift he has. While no bonus points are paid out to the faster cars in qualifying, because ARCA does that, top 3 get 15, 10, and 5 points initially for qualifying points. That has helped Kimmel, as well as clean air here at Winchester early on.
Frank over in turn 2, got about a 7-car length advantage over Mingus. They have pulled away again from Tom Hessert in the 77 as Josh Williams brings that Allegiant Air Chevrolet back to pit road for the 3rd time. Take a look back at the battle for position. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, all in play. Kyle Benjamin there in the Venturini 15 car, running 4th right now. There's Hessert in the 77, one of the 2 Cunningham Dodges, in 3rd spot. So this group has pretty much stayed intact. Austin Self has worked his way up to 5th. And behind him, Brendan Poole has come a long way. He started deep in the field when we got going here today on the 55. He was in the 8th spot. He's worked his way up into that top group as we watch the leaders. Mingus over in turn 2 in the 32. Starting to close in on the 44th. Kimmel as they arrow down the backstretch.
Referencing yesterday, Frank Kimmel's out doing his practice runs. Mason Mingus was given a 10-lap run to try to chase down Frank, follow him in line. The biggest difference was the entry into turn number 1. We see right here, Mingus is in Frank's tire tracks and closing.
Mason Mingus now a couple of car lengths behind the leader as they come up on Milka Duno again in the 35. Milka, of course, the veteran of IndyCar and sports car competition, her third year in the ARCA Racing Series. And she drops to the bottom to let the leaders go by. Kimmel able to maintain the advantage. We're not even to halfway yet, Jim Trado, and this is a situation where taking care of your tires, tire management, very important here at Winchester.
Torrid pace, and they can go about 130 laps on fuel, but these tires are really starting to show their wear. The speeds are down about half a second, 3/4 of a second from our initial laps because these cars did start on sticker tires. They were intended to qualify. That got washed away. So as these tires wear, the teams, the crew chiefs are now wondering, when do we pit? Do we pit under green? Because they've had short track events here as recently as last year. It's gone over 170 laps of green at Berlin Raceway, as a matter of fact. One of the races we're heading to here on NBC Sports Network. So this is the crunch time now. We're in the window if they want to make those pit stops and segment this race into 2 pit stops for the tires and for fuel.
Brad Lloyd there in the 69 car being scored in 10th spot. Not a bad day for Lloyd. His first ever start in the ARCA Racing Series. And very impressive so far out of California as the leaders continue to battle here. Good battle in traffic. There's your third place car. Hesser to the 77, lapping by Duno. The 22 of Austin Self. The teammate to Hesser trying to work his way by Kyle Benjamin, move up into 4th spot, but Benjamin with that preferred line in the 15, and that allows Brendan Poole in the other white machine there, the Adman 55, to get right into the mix as well. Here's Self again to the bottom. He likes that low lane entering 1. Benjamin's been able to hold him off on the high side, but Austin Self may have that position as they head to 3.
And those two teenagers, a partial schedule here. They are really honing their skills in a number of different divisions, number of different levels of competition. They raced in the late model race last night. Self on the bottom in that black number 22 machine, working with veteran crew chief Paul Andrews and Chad Bryan, as we mentioned. He signed up early on last year. He said, I want to go ARCA racing. I need to feel these big cars on cool racetracks.
These are all drivers who hope to race for Sunday money in the next few years in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
They're fighting close now.
Leaning on each other, Austin Self in the black 22 and the 15 of Benjamin. And Self gets by, so move Austin Self up to 4th position now. We'll see if he can run down his teammate Hesser.
You know, Benjamin is one of the drivers that was racing the Winchester 400. It's now a ARCA CRA sanctioned event. 400 laps here. It's always a fall classic. He ran very well here last year. Confidence did not step aside when he came here and practiced on Monday in this car and was very fast then.
As we watch the leaders through 3 and 4, trouble over in turn 2. The 55 of Brendan Poole around, and we've got a tire loose down the backstretch. The 15 of Kyle Benjamin. Those two teammates may have gotten together. We've got some other damage on the backside as well. So the caution waves on lap 66 of 200 today here at Winchester Speedway. Now the 55, the torque machine of Brendan Poole out of the Woodlands in Texas in the Dallas area, spun that car over in turn 2, and he's parked on the apron, gets it refired. He's got all 4 up and holding air. Let's see what happens. Kyle Benjamin's 15 loses it, gets up to the outside wall. The teammate car, the 55 of Poole, loops
so
it.
tight off a 2 there.
It was the 15 of Benjamin who lost the right side wheel and tire. And so he has got a problem, and there's that Hoosier rubber rolling down through the grassy area down in turn 3. So Kyle Benjamin will have to come to pit road. They're working on that car, trying to hammer. If you could take a look at pit road, trying to hammer the sheet metal down. They put a new right rear on the 15, and Kyle Benjamin back out in front of the safety car, hopefully not to lose a lap. We'll be right back. Back at Winchester Speedway, coverage of the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Alongside Jim Trado, I'm Rick Benjamin. Kyle Benjamin, who brought out the yellow. He was running solidly in the top 5, spins in 2, gets into the outside retaining wall, wrinkles up the right rear corner. They put a new right rear wheel on that car. He's on pit road again. They've got to straighten out that sheet metal. He hasn't gone a lap down yet.
And you really need to get that right side of the spoiler in the air to catch that air, to keep that right side tucked on the racetrack. They're banging on that tail right now as the leaders, I think, Rick, are coming to pit road.
You mentioned this would be about the pit window, Jim. We're on lap 68 this time by. Pit road is open, and here comes your points leader and your race leader. Kimmel in the 44. Mason Mingus in the 32 will take advantage of the opportunity. Now, you've got 6 tires to work with as Benjamin gets off pit road. Here comes Kimmel to the attention of the Menards crew. Mingus in the 32 stops right with him. Here comes the 22, the 77 of Hessert, the 11 car of Kyle Weatherman, the 99. Do you take 2 or 4?
Well, at this point in the race, it does not look like the weather will be the issue. Kimmel takes 2, so does the 32 of Mason Mingus. Now, if you do 4 tires here, you'll be faster in this duration of the event, but I think they're going to save the 4 for later on. Apparently, the leaders, the top 3 at least, have done just the 2 tires, right side tires, on pit road here.
Tom Hessert has made his pit stop. If you top off with fuel, you probably can go the rest of the way.
This would be about the extreme of the window. They're counting caution laps here, and if we go a few more caution laps, that's to the bonus and benefit for these teams.
It's a 2-for-1 discount, usually, fuel on caution laps. Usually you get twice the mileage under caution that you do at race pace. And we ran the first 10 under caution, too, don't forget. So
exactly.
That gives you quite a bit of margin, I would think, to play with, but you never know. Atmospheric conditions can have a lot to do with it as well. These are carbureted engines, of course, that these cars use. Kyle Benjamin in that 15, a lot of sheet metal wrinkle there. Not sure that car is straight enough to be competitive. He is still on. Well, he's one lap down to the leaders, being shown in 8th spot right now. The 99 back up onto the Speedway. The 99 is Mason Mitchell out of West Des Moines, Iowa. That's the Rulo brothers car. Kyle Benjamin up to speed. Now the car's not on the lead lap, able to pit this time by. The 69 comes to pit road. The 10 of Blake Hilliard. The 2 of Prater. Milka Duno's 35. Among the others, here comes Daryl Basham in the 34. The 97 car, Roger Carter, stopping here as well with 69 laps on the board. And the safety car in front of Frank Kimmel in the 44, picked up as the race leader.
There is experience here, various ages, as we talked about. Daryl Basham, 64 years young. James Harvey Hilton in the field at 78. These young drivers, though, are making their first pit stop. Some are under green. This race, thankfully, they got the chance to come in this tight pit road under caution. We see the 55 as well, a Poole back in. The deal with these guys is Poole has been a full-timer for Venturini Motorsports all of last year. This is just his second start this year after coaching some of these young kids through their efforts.
Take a look at what the history of Winchester Speedway looks like here in the town of Winchester, Indiana. We're a little north and a little bit east of Indianapolis, about 70 miles away. Half-mile racetrack, 34 degrees of banking. That is very steep. We'll go 100 miles today, and we've hit the pit window at 69 laps. James Hilton, 78. Kyle Benjamin, 15. That's quite an age span. So just a little bit of information. They've been racing here for nearly 100 years.
And in 1914, apparently this was a flat track. I've only been to Winchester. I walk in, I see the high banks, and go, wow, I am at a really cool track that a lot of cool guys have walked through that pit gate and raced on.
Track record here, absolute record in a sprint car, over 142 miles an hour. And not quite that fast in an ARCA Racing Series machine, but these cars certainly haul the mail at Winchester.
And indeed, these cars, again, 3,400 pounds. These are former NASCAR Nationwide and NASCAR Sprint Cup Series cars. Their speeds in practice yesterday, 113.8 miles per hour average speed for Kyle Benjamin. That's under 16 seconds a lap.
Looking for a restart next time by with 70 laps complete. Milka Duno back on the Speedway. Lead lap cars on the outside for the restart. Kimmel in the 44 will be your restart pole sitter. Mingus in the 32. They've run that way the entire way so far. Hessert in the 77 as Kyle Benjamin gets more work done to the Venturini Motorsports machine, the 15 car, and he will head back onto the racetrack. Hessert will line up third. Now the 11 of Kyle Weatherman, again, a great story. He comes from 22nd starting spot. Young kid, teenager, up to 4th on the restart in the Andy Hillenberg machine. Safety car dives from pit road from Sam Pierce Chevrolet. Green is back in the air. Kimmel brings him to the stripe, and we're back underway. Frank Kimmel by a couple of car lengths as they head out of turn 2. Mingus in second. Third is Hessert. 4th is Weatherman. And 5th right now belongs to the 55 of Brendan Poole.
Poole's only other start this year, Rick, was a win at Michigan. So I'd say he's batting 1,000 this year. But again, he's helped all the young kids. Now it's time to go race with him, like the 11 car of Kyle Weatherman. He had a fast car yesterday, had a start in the back, has made his way into the top 5. This is where he's going to ride. We'll see what he's got going on.
Weatherman out of turn number 4. Nicely done so far for the young driver. As the leaders are in turn 2, he's trying to get by and does get by the 55 of Poole as they head off the backstretch. Cody Lane being shown 4th in the 40. I think that may be an error in terms of timing and scoring. There's the 77 of Hessert back to pit road. Unscheduled pit stop for the driver who run 3rd most of the day in the Cunningham Dodge, the barbarous Chrysler Dodge machine. Tom Hessert with an unscheduled stop, right front problems on the 77. They're working on that car.
They had just changed the right front tire under caution 5 laps ago.
There you see Tom Hessert's car, the 77 behind the wall. So one of our contenders today with a serious problem here at Winchester Speedway. Meantime, Mason Mingus on the backstretch starting to close back in on Frank Kimmel. For the lead coming out of turn 4, Kimmel has led all the way so far in that yellow 44. Right behind him in the black 32, Mingus trying to get up on the rear bumper of the 9-time series champion and challenge him.
Get a report on the pits that the 77 car has a right front vibration, so it's more than just a tire for Tom Hessert. A big blow for the driver who's, again, racing this car that won the last 2 Winchester events in the ARCA Series.
The 99 car being shown now in 4th position behind Weatherman, the 99 of Mason Mitchell. That's one of the Rulo brothers Fords as they are working turn 2. He's on the outside of Austin Self, who's 5th. So you've got a challenge for position there. And Hessert off pit road Self with the 22 on the bottom makes it work again and picks up the 4th position on the 99.
That will pay off big for him, because as he's developing this inside line, if you think of dirt tracks, where's the groove, where are you going to run? He's made the bottom work, and it's been pretty efficient for him to get back in the racing line single file for the 22.
So let's reset your running order. Frank Kimmel, as we watch the 4th and 5th place battle out of turn 4. Kimmel's led all the way in the 44. Mingus in the 32 runs second. Kyle Weatherman in the 11 is third. And off the pit stops, the 55 of Brennan Poole, we thought was right there next in line in 4th position, but he's gone a lap or two down. Remember, he was involved in the spin, didn't hit the wall, but spun that car over in turn 2, lost a lap in the exchange. So Poole now shown in 9th behind his teammate Kyle Benjamin, who is 8th as we watch the leaders down the back straightaway. The 22 of Self is 4th. Mitchell in the 99 is 5th. Brad Lloyd being shown 6th in the 69, and Cody Lane 7th in the 40.
We've seen a lot of this year. The number 44 Frank Kimmel machine and the number 32 Mason Mingus. 1 and 2 in the points. They're always seemingly around each other on the racetrack as well, whether one's ahead in 5th, the other's in 6th, or in the case for Frank Kimmel at Talladega, Kimmel was the winner. Mason Mingus came home 2nd on that super speedway.
Down into turn 1, lap traffic a factor here. That's Hessert of the 77 who had that vibration a moment ago. Right front corner of the Cunningham Dodge. Back on the racetrack now, not quite up to speed. Gave up 3rd spot in the exchange, and right now they're showing Hessert back at 15th, and he's lost 6 laps to the leaders. And we'll see if he drops to the bottom and gives way to the lead car. Kimmel in the 44. Right behind him in the 32 Mingus over there on the backstretch.
And for a driver like Tom Hessert, you don't have a fast car. He's right now faster than the leaders, trying to maintain pace ahead of them. That's a big disappointment with that vibration bringing him to pit road. He knows he has a fast car. It's going to be a long day to try to make up those laps. There is a free pass here that he's perhaps hoping to get if he's the car the most recent, just 1 lap down, but he's not in that position just yet.
Mason Mingus in that black 32. That's the Dial 811 entry from Wintron Racing. Closing in on your race leader, Frank Kimmel, the 9-time series champion, gunning for his 79th career win today in the 44 car. We'll see if he gets it done when we come back. Laps short of halfway. Lead battle taking shape. First time here today. Mason Mingus out of turn 4 has caught the leader, Frank Kimmel, in the 44 car. Good battle for the top spot as we take a look at our running order. Top of the screen, over in 2. Kimmel with Mingus breathing down his neck right now.
And as we talked about Frank, the veteran, and Mason, the 18-year-old, really in his first full season, this is a track that Mingus was a competitor at last year for Wintron Racing in that number 32 811 call before you dig Toyota. He finished 6th here. He had a very strong run, but now he's got the confidence and knowing he can chase and race with Frank Kimmel. This is huge for that young driver in the 32.
Leaders on the backside of the racetrack, over in 3. Lap traffic definitely a factor. The 77 of Tom Hessert a couple of laps down. Hessert very fast, though. Remember, he was running 3rd before they had a problem just a few laps ago. Kimmel on the bottom as we close in on halfway. Weather has been an issue all weekend here, but we're very close to having a race officially in the books. You've got to get 1 lap past halfway, hoping to get everything in here today at Winchester Speedway as the leaders have to navigate some heavy traffic in turn 1.
And Frank Kimmel right in that yellow car in number 44. I got to get back to Mingus a bit because his crew chief was hammering home patience. Do not push the issue. At Salem Speedway, they had a great race car, but he got caught up early. They rallied back for a top 10, but the 32 of Mingus showing great patience here. His crew chief, Big Mark Schornerin, on the radio right now telling him, stay with Frank. Do not push the issue. Do not try anything crazy here at this point in the race.
As Kimmel works his way around the lap cars, and he's content. Frank's content to run behind Tom Hessert. He knows Hessert's got a pretty quick race car in that 77, even though they had a problem as they come down into turn 1. Now Kimmel may take the opportunity to get by Hessert and try to open up some daylight on Mason Mingus.
And that puts Hessert 1 more lap down. That's 1 more competitor. Frank Kimmel now knows he has another road to hoe, another ladder rung to climb before he can get back into contention here.
Battling for position a little further back. The 32 of Mingus trying to lap by the 77. Also, again, remember Hessert in that 77 went many laps down just a short time ago. Scored 15th, but shown 6 laps behind the leaders. Maybe a 7th now because Kimmel and Mingus have gotten by him. Running order top of your screen as we watch the race leader Kimmel in the Ansel Menards Toyota. Only multiple winners so far in the ARCA Series in 2013.
And this is the 3rd year he's teamed with ThorSport Racing. They own the NASCAR Camping Truck Series team of Matt Crafton and Johnny Sauter, and now Brett Bodine along with Brett Moffitt. That team has said, Frank, we want you to come to our shop. We have Menards. We have them as a partner. Come to our shop in Sandusky, Ohio. He brought his sponsorship and now is racing with ThorSport Racing. His crew chief was Matt Crafton's truck chief for 8 years. Jared Prince. They are dialed in. Frank's happy. He's been leading laps. And again, as you mentioned, 2 wins this year on the biggest track and the smallest track on the schedule, Talladega and Elko Speedway.
Kimmel in the 44 has taken advantage of the lap traffic. He stretched it back out to 14 or 15 car lengths over Mason Mingus. There's Kimmel in the Menards 44 heading down into turn 3, working lap traffic like the master he is at age 51. Austin Self in the 22 car. Great story in 4th position out of Austin, Texas. Another teenager says, hey, I want to get there. This is what I have to do. I have to be proficient in these ARCA cars to have a chance at the big time on Sunday afternoon.
He got the test before he made his debut in the ARCA Racing Series at Toledo Speedway in May. He finished 6th in that race, a very impressive run. He also tested here this past Monday. So to get some more track time, he got this heavy car as well as his CRA late model in tune. He tested Salem actually Friday on the way here for a couple of hours, but he's also tested here in a late model recently. So that's another reason to attribute the 22 and Austin Wayne Self really showing strength here.
The AM Technical Solutions Dodge, part of the Cunningham stable, the 22 and the 77, and Self right now in the 4th position. Kyle Benjamin in the 15, meantime, got into the wall earlier. Back to pit road in the Venturini Motorsports entry. Halfway next time by as we watch Frank Kimmel out of turn 4. He'll put 100 of 200 laps on the board today. He's led all the way so far here at Winchester. And Kimmel cutting some terrifically quick laps. Now Mingus in the 32 will take advantage of some open racetrack and start to run the 44 down again. So Mingus, Jim, you had mentioned earlier, he was told going into this race, be patient, follow Kimmel, don't use your stuff up, be there at the end. You don't win these races in the first 100 laps.
But he needs to score more points than Frank. Running with him is not going to be good enough. He needs to get there. But what he's learning now is how to maintain pace with Frank. And if Frank has any weakness, he's the first to see it. Mingus needs to score solid finishes. Both those drivers have scored top 10s in every race run this year. He's got the consistency, but he's got to start winning these races and beating Frank Kimmel to that finish line.
Not sure whether Kimmel really has the quickest car at this point. Mingus able to track down the 44 from a distance. Hasn't had enough yet to get by as we watch the 3rd place machine, the 11 of Kyle Weatherman out of Wentzville, Missouri. Mike Harper's the crew chief. That's the Rogers Automotive Group car.
And what he's got a great tutor in Michael Harper. Michael Harper tutored Chris Buescher. He also tutored David Reagan. Legends guys that made the transition to big heavy stock cars that raced during the ARCA Racing Series. So Weatherman following in those footsteps with a great leader in Michael Harper out of Dallas, Texas.
That's Kyle Weatherman, who started deep in the field here today. Remember, a few owner points for that 11. Lined up in 22nd inside the 11th row here today. Make it outside the 11th row. Up front, meantime, Kimmel with his hands full. Mingus has closed right in on the call before you dig 811 machine. That's Mason Mingus at the bottom. Kimmel slips up the racetrack. Mingus gunning for the lead down the back straightaway. Kimmel says, no, thank you. I'll keep it myself.
Just past halfway, I think Frank Kimmel knows he may lock up the most laps led. So if Mason wants to show him something, we'll see if the veteran will let that youngster by. It's not going to happen this time, though, Rick.
Mingus on the bottom, though. Now, remember, Kimmel likes to run higher at Winchester. Mingus by a fender as they come out of turn 2. Kimmel says, no, thanks. I'll keep my foot in it on the high side, try to hang on to the lead. Kimmel's led every lap so far. I don't think he'll lead this one as they come off of 4.
It's a drag race, but the outside line is the preferred line here. Mingus really had to push it in there.
Mason Mingus takes over the top spot on the bottom, working his way patiently by Frank Kimmel with 107 laps on the board here at Winchester. The 3rd place car, the 11 of Kyle Weatherman, enjoying that. It gives him an opportunity to close in a little bit. He's not quite a straightaway behind.
Weatherman, as you mentioned, started back in 22nd position, Rick, and while watching that number 11 car, they really worked on this young man getting better in the center and better rolling through the corner and off the corner. They were working a lot on that yesterday with Kyle Weatherman, just 15 years of age, at Wentzville, Missouri. That young man has really shown a lot of speed in the limited time he's raced here in the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards.
We're on the backstretch as we watch the 55 of Brennan Poole. There's the 06 car. That is the car of James Swanson from Clarksboro, New Jersey. Swanson doing a good job, new to the series. Shown 12th right now, a couple of laps down to the leaders. Leaders coming out of turn 2. Mason Mingus followed Frank Kimmel for 107 laps today here at Winchester Speedway, but worked his way by Kimmel a couple of laps back. There's Weatherman in 3rd spot in the 11. Kimmel out of turn 4. The 77 of Hessert had run 3rd for quite a while. A couple of dozen laps ago, Hessert's car developed a vibration in the right front corner. He had to come back to pit road under green. He lost 6 laps. Now, Tom Hessert III's been doing this quite a while. Very fast race car, good race team, showing that he's got pace with the leaders, but when you're 6 laps down on a short track, you've got almost no chance.
And that Salem Speedway winner from this year has a very fast car, but as you mentioned, it's not going to happen today for Hessert unless something miraculous happens in the way Frank Kimmel and Mason Mingus and others in the point chase have been running. It's not going to be an easy road for Tom Hessert. However, he knows what he has in this race car. He tested a lot yesterday. He actually followed Frank Kimmel around the racetrack. Will he play a factor later? I don't think so. Hessert's a smart heads-up driver going for the championship. Currently fourth in the owner's standing, third in the driver's standing is that number 77 driver out of New Jersey.
Heavy traffic for Frank Kimmel in the 44 as he is second now, working his way through it, coming to the front straightaway. This has allowed Mason Mingus the luxury of running in clean air. So Mingus, as Kimmel pushes to the top of the racetrack trying to get by the slower cars, Mingus of almost a full straightaway ahead of him right now because he's taking advantage of open racetrack. Back a little further, Milcaduno in the 35, a couple of laps down. Kimmel leading a group of cars. Hessert in the 77, Weatherman in the 11 who runs third. As we watch Mingus all alone. Clean air in these race cars. You hear that terminology used, Jim Trado. It's really an advantage for the race leader.
And that means no other cars are around you to disrupt the air. And once you're out in the lead, the car behind you is as fast, you might get a little draft off them. Even at a half-mile speedway like this with these big, heavy bars, these cars are heavy. The bodies still have to be slipstream, though, to get maximum air off them.
Battle for second spot. Kyle Weatherman in the 11 runs down Kimmel. Weatherman works his way by the series champion, the 9-time champion Kimmel, who led the first 107 laps from the pole. And Weatherman now moves into second spot after starting back in 22nd.
Weatherman is a special kid. As I mentioned, Andy Hillenberg's kind of showing him the way, but he also spent some time this past week at Caraway Speedway in North Carolina testing for the first time with bump stops. They're not using them here, but he's part of that learning process. This is a great development series, and Weatherman's certainly showing strength here in the 11.
Race leader is Mason Mingus in the Wintron 32 car. Mingus doing a great job running down Kimmel. Kyle Weatherman from the back of the field has taken second spot from Kimmel with 80 laps to go at Winchester. Welcome back to Winchester Speedway. We're in Winchester, Indiana. Coverage of the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards on the NBC Sports Network. I'm Rick Benjamin. Jim Trado is alongside. Great to have you with us for the Herr's Chase to Taste 200 today. Less than 80 laps remaining. Frank Kimmel led the first 107. Jim Trado, we've had quite a sea change here in the last few moments. First, Mason Mingus worked his way to the lead and has stretched it out. And then Kyle Weatherman back in the field to the front. He's taken over second in the 11 car. Kimmel third, but hanging on. You're listening to his radio. What's going on?
Listening, and they're leading off lap times for Frank. We mentioned they pitted on lap 69. We're now lap 123. His tires have seemed to wear more. Perhaps as he led his way through traffic to maintain that quick pace to keep Mason Mingus in tow, it's cost him a bit on his right side tires. They have 4 left in that pit for the number 44, Frank Kimmel. They're reading off lap times, pacing around 17.2, 17.3. They qualified and actually ran mock runs at 16 flat. So 16 flat for new tires. We're back to a second, maybe 1.2 seconds off that pace with these wearing of these tires.
As we watch Kimmel almost a half a lap behind now with 75 laps to go. Your leader out at turn 4. We got a quick glimpse there of Mason Mingus as he makes it down into 1. So we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, tire management key in most forms of racing. Certainly here with these Hoosier Short Track radials. What do you do? If it's green flag all the way, when do you make that final pit stop and go for those fresh 4 tires?
I believe these teams will wait till about 40 to go, if they can wait that long, in Frank Kimmel's case, to get that fresh set to really be a factor there. This is Frank Kimmel's deficit now. He was leading, going away. Mason Mingus pacing 4 or 5 car lengths behind him. Now he's out of the picture here as Kimmel still hanging on to that top 5 run, but boy, he's way off of the pace of the race leader.
You mentioned Kimmel and that ThorSport team, all that experience in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Kimmel, of course, has won the championship 9 times, 78 career wins, 5 here in Winchester, the winningest driver here in ARCA competition. This is the 24th time the ARCA Racing Series has come here. Here's Kyle Weatherman in that Andy Hillenberg 11 car. That'd be out of Wentzville, Missouri, the Rogers Automotive Group entry. Not much experience at all in big, heavy race cars, and a big pileup over
including Mingus. The race leader's in it.
Caution on the speedway. Mingus in the 32 apparently has gotten caught up in a wreck that involves the 69 car. We see some other cars involved over there as well. The 69 is the machine of Brad Lloyd from Napa, California. Looks like the 06 may be in this one too of James Swanson, and there is Mingus. So the Wintron 32, your race leader, couldn't get on the brakes quickly enough. Gets caught up in a mess over in turn 2. Caution waving with 72 laps to go. And this may answer the question of when do you stop for tires. Let's take another look at what happened as they came through turn 1 and 2. Big stack up over there. That's the 06, the 69. Mingus trying to get through on the high side. Didn't have enough room.
And here he comes hard of the binders into that mess. 2 cars stopped. He, I believe, thought they were going to clear themselves down the banking as Mingus came upon them. The red 69 of Lloyd was right in the groove that Mingus thought would be cleared by the time he got there.
So Mingus in the 32, the Wintron team. Now this is a veteran race team, Kevin Sawinski's team. out of Minnesota. They go to work trying to straighten out that front sheet metal. They'll take the opportunity to fuel the car. But boy, there's heavy damage on that race car.
And they're also looking it over. His crew chief is Mark Redd, who won the 09 championship here in ARCA with Justin Lofton. They're calling, put it behind the wall. Let's get out the spare radiator. That team brought a lot of parts in the infield. You see no haulers, no garages here. They brought enough parts here to fix this car, but a huge blow for Mingus in more than one way. Looking for his first win and some serious points as the leader here, getting involved in the accident.
So that will set things up. Now pit road is closed at the moment to the race leader. Kyle Weatherman in the 11 takes over the lead. The second spot will go to Kimmel. There's 2 lapped cars between the leader, the 11, and the second place car, the 44. Here's another look at what happened.
The caution's out already.
Caution waving, because there's the wreck, and there you see the 32 closing in. Weatherman on the high side able to get by. Mingus just ran out of racetrack there. As you see, Milka Duno on the bottom. She's got damage to the 35 car. And we'll take another look here as we watch the action over in turn 2 at Winchester. That's the 69 car getting into it up on the high side.
That's the 06 of Swanson that turned right up into the...
And Mingus on the 32, in the middle of the racetrack, had nowhere to go. Tried to get on the binders and didn't have enough room to do so.
And Kyle Weatherman, because of Mingus's lead, had time to woe it down and get cleanly through there in that 11 machine.
So the Rogers Automotive Group 11 of Kyle Weatherman out of Missouri will be your restart leader with 70 laps to go. Pit road remains closed. Milka Duno with heavy damage. The Venturini Motorsports 35 car. There's the 69. That's the Brad Lloyd car out of Napa, California. They were in the top 10 earlier, first start in one of these cars. So a nice job early for Brad Lloyd. But it shows you that at a short track like Winchester, half mile, high speed place, you get yourself in trouble in a heartbeat.
And really, I mentioned self-cleaning before. Mason Mingus raced the race last night. He's raced here once before, and each and every time, if the cars do happen to get in those high-speed collisions, they seem to drift down that 34-degree banking pretty quickly. That was not the case as Mason anticipated. 2 cars side by side, grinding to a halt right in the outer groove, cost that race leader big.
Cody Lane there in the 40. We saw the 40 a moment ago with heavy damage. And that's the 97 car, Roger Carter from Sunfield, Michigan. So a couple of teammates there, the 2 Carter 2 Motorsports Dodges involved in that mess over in turn 2.
Roger's had a really troubling season. He's had a great run, top 10 at Michigan, but really for his first full-time campaign, this 43-year-old businessman caught up in things like this, not of his doing.
We are under caution with 69 to go here at Winchester Speedway. And Kyle Weatherman with an opportunity to make some history here at Winchester Speedway today.
The youngest ever winner in the ARCA Racing Series history at Lakeland, Florida a couple years back was James Busher, just shy of his 17th birthday. ARCA Racing Series dropped the age requirement minimum to 15 this year. So this indeed could be historic for more than one reason.
Wow.
Kyle Weatherman in just his second career start. That's got to be near a record.
Yeah, you think so?
Very few drivers make their first and only start in ARCA and make it a victory. Adam Petty being one I can remember offhand at Charlotte Motor Speedway a few years back. But it's hard to say I've won ARCA. I've won ARCA anywhere, much less in my second start.
This is not an easy league to win in by any means. Frank Kimmel at age 51, the 9-time series champ, will restart second. There'll be a couple of lap cars between the 11 and the 44. Pit road remains closed because they're still doing some work over in turn 2 to get the final couple of cars on the hook and off the surface here at Winchester Speedway. Now, again, the question, if you've got 4 sticker tires left, if you're Frank Kimmel, what does your experience tell you? Do you say, okay, now's my time when pit road opens, I'm getting those 4 stickers and going for it, or do you wait?
The pace that Frank's on and the number of cars that have had incidents that really were in contention for this victory, it makes a lot of sense for Frank to come in, get those 4. He's got a good enough race car right now with 5, 6, 7 other contenders he knows he can gauge against. I think he may have wanted Mason Mingus to get ahead of him to pace him, but Mingus was a lot faster, so I think they want those tires to get Frank back into a comfortable position for his 79th career victory.
So Mason Mingus, who had tracked down Kimmel and taken the lead away, loses the opportunity to win here in this incident in turn 2. We showed it to you a couple of different times. He got caught up in the incident, tried to go through the middle of the racetrack. The lane was closed when he got there, just unable to get on the brakes enough to slow the car down. Pit road is open, so we anticipate, well, perhaps the leaders arriving on pit road. Remember, this time lead lap cars, so the 11 of Weatherman will come down pit road. Kimmel will come down pit road. The 3rd place car, the 99 machine of Mason Mitchell, one of the Rulo brothers Fords. And then the 22 of Self, the 15 of Benjamin will come down pit road. He is not a lead lap car. Penalty to him doesn't matter really at this point. He just needs to stop. So the leaders are on pit road. Kimmel in the 44. Weatherman ahead of him. Now, Weatherman pits at the end of pit road. Pit road here stretches all the way around to turn 2. Kimmel's team, they're going right sides, now around left sides. They'll add a little bit of fuel to the Menards 44. Same thing for the 11 bunch. Weatherman's team and the 99 of Mason Mitchell. All three teams, Jim Trado, looks like they're putting on 4-sticker tires. And the Menards 44 stalls. Kimmel has problem launching that car off pit road.
They're saying they might want to change the left front or put the left front. The lug nut on the left front may have been loose. They're going to snap it with a gun one more time, and Frank Kimmel will get out still ahead of the number 22, Austin Selpa. Loses that spot. He had a very fast stop going there. Better than Kyle Weatherman's, but he'll line up behind him on the restart.
The 99 of Mason Mitchell, though, first off pit road. Now, he was third when we came to pit road. Looks like he will be the first car onto the racetrack, so he will be the restart leader behind Weatherman, Kimmel, and Self in the 22.
And a great birthday gift for Mason Mitchell. Just turned 19 this past week. This young driver out of Iowa is hungry. He had 4 starts last year, all top 10 finishes. But he said, I want to go with the championship team from 2012. I want to be with the Ruler brothers. He's raced each and every one of these races, and he's sitting 5th in the driver points. But this is a huge opportunity for this young man. I talked to him before the race. He wasn't really expecting to be in the contention here, but his team knows how to battle back every race, as they did with Chris Buescher last year at just 19 and winning the championship.
Safety car still up on the speedway, still under caution. A lot of speedy dry down over in turn 2. The 99 car of Mason Mitchell will be a restart leader, one of the 2 Rulo brothers Fords. 66 to go at Winchester.
The official in-car camera supplier of the ARCA Racing Series on NBC Sports Network is Replay XD. Time now for the Replay XD race recap. Frank Kimmel, the defending series champion, off to a great start today. He picks up about a 15-car length lead early here at Winchester. Just before 24 laps complete, though, a caution. The 10 of Blake Hilliard spinning over in turn 2. 65 complete now. Kyle Benjamin and his teammate Brendan Poole would get together in the same general area over in the second corner, both able to return to the race. And past halfway, lap 116 on the board, Kimmel drops back to third behind Weatherman and Mason Mingus. Not much later, lap 128, the big pileup over in turn 2. The leader, Mingus, the 69 of Brad Lloyd, James Swanson, 06, and Milcaduno in the 35, all getting together. Now only 66 laps to go, and Mason Mitchell would take the lead. Frank Kimmel is in third, trying to chase down the leader and grab his 79th career victory in the ARCA Racing Series. Our race recap brought to you by Replay XD. Life's in HD. Replay.
Still under caution here at Winchester Speedway. Coverage of the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. The Herrs chase the Taste 200. First of 4 ARCA Series events on the NBC Sports Network. Glad to have you with us on what has become a bright, sunny Sunday afternoon of action. Big incident over in turn 2 has changed the complexion of this race quite a bit. Leaders making what we assume will be their final pit stop of the day to put on 4 tires and top off with fuel. Still cleaning up over there. A lot of fluid on the racetrack. That's the speedy dry you see that'll have to be brushed off. And the 06 car of James Swanson heavily damaged. They just got that car up on a rollback, so it's been a long cleanup over in turn 2.
One more look here, Rick. We're following the number 2 of Thomas Prater into the corner. He's behind the race leader. That black car ahead of him is Mason Mingus as the crash happens ahead.
You see a couple of the cars, a couple of the Venturini cars. That's Milcaduno on the bottom. Now, one of the other Venturini white cars in there, and then you saw the 69 get into it. Mingus tried to thread his way through in the black 32 in the middle and wasn't able to get through. Bent up the front of that car. Brad Lloyd in the 69 tried to squeeze by on the high side. He got caught up by the 06. The car of James Swanson from Clarksboro, New Jersey. And all of this costing Mingus the race lead and perhaps his first career win. And the Wintron car, heavy damage. Trying to put a new radiator on, trying to straighten out some of the front sheet metal, get things back at least where he can complete this race and score as many points as possible.
You talk about great stories in this series. He is an 18-year-old recent high school graduate. High school wrestling standout, was on the championship team that won their state championship in Tennessee. He graduated on May 26th. May 29th, he moved to Mooresville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't get there soon enough to work with my race team.
Out of Brentwood, Tennessee, just outside Nashville. As we continue to click off caution laps today here at Winchester Speedway, coming up on 60 laps to go.
And our race leader, we talked about all these young drivers finding experience and getting lap times.
Yeah.
The first time Mason Mitchell saw Winchester Speedway was yesterday.
Wow.
We talk about the adaptation of these young drivers, that the skills that they have. adapting so quickly to tracks as tough as Winchester.
Talked to Gary Rulo, the team owner, earlier in the day. I've known Gary for a long time, and I said, where did you find Mason Mitchell? I assumed dirt late models because of Des Moines, Iowa. That's dirt track country. He said, no. Pro late models, a couple of super late model races, and mini cup cars. And here he is, and leading the show here at Winchester, a very difficult place to be fast.
He showed really well on Eddie Sharp's equipment last year in the limited run in ARCA racing. Started top 10, finished top 10 in every race. So that expectation came here. But the Ruler brothers, really, I listened to them intently on the radio. They are developing this young driver. It's not just always going to be about how fast it is, but when to pace yourself, how to pit on pit stops. And they continue to preach to this young driver what you need to be in position to win races. And Gary told me today, he said, we're not ready to win a race yet. We're top 5, but we got to get to 5th place finishes, then 3rd, then we can look at victory. So this is a great effort.
Take a look at the 06 of James Swanson as he goes out on the rollback. Heavy damage to that car, to the nose of that car, the tail section, and the right side as well. So James Swanson from Clarksboro, New Jersey, the GreatRailing.com entry. Heavy hit over there in turn 2. Should be ready to go momentarily. All the safety vehicles have cleared over in turn 2. Still a lot of speedy dry down on the racetrack. And we're still seeing the caution being waived, and it looks as though the ambulance is going to leave the speedway. We assume that is with James Swanson. Now, we haven't had a report yet as to what might be the problem. But they have got him apparently in the ambulance, and the ambulance is going to leave the speedway. So we're going to continue under caution here. The gates have to be opened at Winchester to allow the ambulance to leave and go to a local hospital to give him a check over, make sure he's okay.
The great thing about this series, it allows a lot of people in. And Wayne Peterson Racing has 2 cars, 2 entries. James Swanson's been in the majority of the number 06 machine all season long. They are some of those great guys that, work 40, 50 hours a week at their real job, and then they go play on their race car for 10, 12 hours a night, it seems like, get that nap and go back to work to do what they love here in the ARCA Racing Series and race.
So we'll try to get a report on James Swanson's condition as the ambulance leaves the Randolph County EMS crew here in the Winchester, Randolph County, Indiana. Taking the ambulance off Speedway property here as the work continues on the Mason Mingus machine, race leader when he was caught up in that wreck over in turn 2, and he is out of contention now. Obviously, they're going to roll that car further, it looks like, off pit road behind the wall here at Winchester to try to continue the work and get him ready to restart. Coming up on lap 141, 59 to go as we stay under caution. Gates being bolted back into place here. And we'll see if we're going to be ready to go in just a moment or two. Yellow flag continues to show at Winchester. Lights remain on the Sam Pierce Chevrolet safety car. So we'll stay at least another lap or 2 under caution here at Winchester. Ought to be quite a shootout when we get going again. You've got 5 cars on the lead lap. Mitchell in the 99, Weatherman in the 11, Kimmel in the 44, Self in the 22, and Brendan Poole in the 55. Now Poole will have to start behind a lot of lap vehicles. Poole lining up behind teammate Milka Duno. He will be about 11th in line for the restart. Justin Boston there as well.
And he's got to finish this race. It's all about, okay, we're not in lead lap right now, but we may get back in contention for this one. A lot of effort being put in that number 55 machine. Again, Venturini Motorsports with 4 cars here. This is Poole's second start, first on a short track. He's also raced some dirt track racing. He's a dirt modified guy at heart who went national racing at the age of 15 in that style of car. So Poole anxious to get a good run here for the Venerinis in the 55.
And his fellow Texan in the 22, the AM Technical Solutions car, Austin Self, 16 years of age. Doing a terrific job today. He'll line up 4th on the restart behind Kimmel. By the way, we're told that the driver of the 06, James Swanson, was in fact transported. You saw the ambulance a moment ago. Conscious and alert, we're told. Good news. Being transported to a local medical care facility for further observation. We wish him and his team all the best. Caution continues to wave. And on pit road is the 15 of Kyle Benjamin as we watch the 35 of Milka Duno, the Milky Way Chevrolet. And she, of course, from Caracas, Venezuela. Many college degrees, has raced Indy cars. I first ran across her several years ago in the American Le Mans Series. Did several years there in sports cars, did very well. Decided she wanted to learn stock car racing.
She was a teammate of Tony Stewart's, as a matter of fact, in the Rolex Grand Am Series at one point, running the Rolex 24. What Milka has shown, though, is she's adapting well to this series. Her best finish until this season was on a road course. You'd imagine New Jersey, okay, 12th, great. Well, guess what? She finished 8th the last time the series visited Indiana Short Track at Salem Speedway this year. So Milka, again, learning that confidence in this series, now partnered with Venturini for the first year, full season. She won the pole at Talladega Super Speedway, but you can see she's wearing a bit more of the short track finesse outfit, if you will, here in that Can TV Milky Way number 35.
I think Bill and Kathy Venturini need to stock up on Bondo when they get this car back to the shop in Charlotte, North Carolina at the end of the weekend. Caution continues to wave here with 58 to go, 142. This will be lap 143. So we have an official race. If the weather were to turn bad again, which I don't think it will, the sun has been shining brightly here for quite some time at Winchester. We are past the halfway point, so we are official here today at least. But yeah, Milka Duno learning her craft in stock cars, being scored in 7th spot right now, so perhaps on her way to her best career finish in the ARCA Racing Series.
And one thing to note, with her running full time, she is 9th in the standings. So a number of drivers like Kyle Benjamin, Austin Wayne Self, they come and go. But the mainstay, Milka, is running every race this season. I believe for the first time in her stock car career, she had select starts up to this point in the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards.
So Milka Duno restarting in her 7th spot under caution. We'll set the starting order for you as we get set to go green, hopefully in just a couple of moments here. The 99 car, Mason Mitchell, will be the restart pole sitter. One of the Rulo brothers Ford entries. The 11 of Kyle Weatherman will line up in 2nd spot for the restart. And that is the Rogers Automotive Group entry. That's a Dodge Charger. 3rd spot, the Ansel Menards Toyota, the veteran Frank Kimmel, the 9-time champion. 4th for the restart, the 22 of Austin Self. That is one of the Cunningham Dodges. Those cars all on the lead lap. Now, Brendan Poole also on the lead lap in the 55. He is scored 5th, but as we mentioned, he'll be, I believe it's 11th on the track. We have lap cars between the 22 and the 55. Next in line on the racetrack is the 77 of Tom Hessert, many laps down. The 10 of Blake Hilliard, many laps down. The 34 of Daryl Basham, many laps down. Even Milka Duno scored 7th, is 6 laps down right now. There's Poole in the 55. Justin Boston in the 25, the Zloop car, 18th. He missed a lot of laps. He's only been on the racetrack for 30 laps today. Had problems early. Thomas Prater and Kyle Benjamin in the 15. Kyle Benjamin shown 10th, and he is 7 laps down. 1 lap till we go green here at Winchester Speedway. So there'll be 55 laps to settle things today. And among your top 4, the 99 of Mitchell, the 11 of Weatherman, the 44 of Kimmel, the 22 of Self. I don't know who's got this thing in hand at this point. As the 77 of Tom Hessert, who ran 3rd for the first 50, 60 laps before they had a vibration problem on the right front corner. He pulls up alongside. He'll be the first of the lap cars in line as we get set to go for the restart. So this will allow the 55 of Poole to be up to 5th on the racetrack. And we understand the green will not reappear this time by. Yellow flag continues to wave here at Winchester Speedway. Again, the cleanup has ended over in turn 2, but the ambulance left the grounds with the driver of the 06 car, James Swanson, a short time ago. Told he was awake and alert, conscious and apparently okay, but that they wanted to take him to a medical facility locally for a little more check to make sure everything's okay. Let's take a time out. We'll come right back here at Winchester. Leaders off of turn 2, looking for a restart, hopefully this time by Mason Mingus in the Wintron 32. They finally finished at least some of the repair work to the 32. Now remember, he was leading the race when he got caught up in that wreck. He's 12th, it appears, right now. And they have missed 17 laps of action, or at least of caution time, getting that car put back together as he comes up onto the racetrack over on the backside. No sheet metal, right front fender's gone, much of the hood is gone, a little bit of the bumper cap remains. Aerodynamically, it'd be hard to have that car up to speed.
Just a matter of finishing this race, and Frank Kimmel is a guy he's always been aiming for this year. Frank's got a good run going here, restarting 3rd, so that's another big blow, and a thought that young man has to get through. The 32 of Mingus fighting through to the finish here.
Green flag is back in the air. Your restart leader, Mitchell, in the 99. He's got that white machine in the front out of turn 2. Kyle Weatherman in 2nd in the 11. The 77 of Hessert, a lapped car, running with the leaders at leader's pace. Kimmel right there, Self in the 22, Kimmel in the 44 to the bottom, trying to get by Weatherman for 2nd spot. Remember, all of these cars have fresh tires to go to the end now. Kimmel's hung up behind the 77 of Hessert. We'll see what happens. Oh, Hessert breaks by the 99 of Mitchell, and that gives Kimmel the opportunity to steal the lead. Self on the bottom. They're 3 wide in turn 3 and 4. Austin Self gets by on the bottom to take over 2nd. What a move by Austin Self.
Mason Mitchell already back to the 4th position. He had just a bit of a bobble off of turn number 2. He's still not able to right that Ford coming off that corner a lap later. So took the restart lead. Now he's falling back.
50 laps to go, and Frank Kimmel jumps on the opportunity off that restart to reestablish the lead in the 44 car. What a great move by Kimmel. He bet on Hessert, and he bet correctly. Hessert was a little quicker off, too, even though he's many laps down. That opened the door for Kimmel.
Into the wall.
As the 11 of Weatherman bounces off the fourth turn concrete.
Huge blow there, Rick, as he was trying to wake by. Hessert did the right thing. He got to the bottom of the racetrack. That's middle of this racetrack as they run the outer groove, but Benjamin, or the 11 car of Weatherman, did not gauge it right and smacked both right side tires against the wall.
Battle for second now. The 22 of Self, the black machine, trying to get by Weatherman's 11. Doesn't look like Weatherman had much damage to that car in the right front corner, but a bad bobble for Kyle Weatherman as Frank Kimmel says, boys, fight it out amongst yourselves. I will take advantage and stretch the lead out. Here's Self again. As you mentioned, Jim Trado, about the only guy in the field who's been able to make the bottom work here today.
Self to the inside again in that black number 22 machine. 16-year-old battling the 15-year-old for second position here at Winchester, and he got a little bit loose himself. Austin Self that time off of 2. Perhaps a little bit of oil dry in that groove, not able to work it out that time.
Kyle Weatherman in the 11 hangs on to second spot as we put 154 of 200 laps on the board today at Winchester Speedway. Your second place car, Weatherman in the 11. Third is Self in the 22. Fourth belongs to the 55 of Brennan Poole. He's trying to get by his teammate Milcaduno and does so as we watch the battle between the 22 and the 11 for second spot. There's your leader Kimmel off of turn number 4.
Boy, as we said at the outset about the veterans versus the youngsters, this is playing out beautifully for Frank Kimmel. His arch rival in the points, Mason Mingus, having issues while leading, and now we've got a great battle with a pair of teenagers here into turn 3.
Austin Self out of Texas on the bottom, able to take over the second spot once again from Kyle Weatherman. We'll see if Self is going to have anything for Frank Kimmel now as we close in on 40 laps remaining. And the Herrs chased the taste 200 today at Winchester Speedway. Watching that fight for second over in turn number 3. There's Kimmel. You get a sense of the lead. Kimmel not quite a full straightaway to the good over the 22 of Self.
And no word on the radio on the 11 of Weatherman, but he did have that damage, and they talked him through it, but now they're saying save those tires. Do not push this because that body wear may become a factor in the later run here as the tires wear. The sidewalls flex a bit more, so Weatherman a bit of a conservation mode here running third, getting intervals from his spotter, Andy Hillenberg, back to fourth.
Poole in the 55 in fourth position. Frank Kimmel enjoying the view right now out of the windshield of the Menards 44 car as he races out of turn 4. There's Weatherman in the 11, the Rogers Automotive Group entry. Top 3 together on the racetrack, but Frank Kimmel, after that great move following the last restart, jumping to the lead and stretching it out now, and there'll be 40 to go next time by. There's Kimmel in the Menards Ansel 44 all by himself out of turn number 4.
And one thing Austin Wayne Self in that number 22 machine talked about with his crew over dinner last night and all during practice yesterday was how to get that car to better handle coming off the corner. His crew chief, Chad Bryan, had worked in NASCAR Nationwide Series, now works in the Cunningham Motorsport shops, elbow to elbow with Paul Andrews. They put together a really solid 2-car effort this year, and for Austin to dip in here for just his second race and do so well, it really shows a lot of the strength of that team and getting that car to where he wants it. And this young man giving feedback to get that car in the position to run top 5 is certainly impressive in itself.
51-year-old Frank Kimmel, meantime, trying to tie the all-time series leader in victories. The great Iggy Katona, who raced from the 50s through the 70s, bagged his last win at Daytona 1974. He has 79 career wins, 6 championships. Kimmel with 9 titles, the all-time leader in that category in the ARCA Racing Series. But 78 career wins. Frank can tie Katona today if Kimmel can get the job done and win his 6th ARCA Racing Series event here at Winchester Speedway.
And being a Southern Indiana gentleman, Frank has always kept this place a special home. His home is Salem Speedway on the schedule, but this track, a lot of similarities to Salem Speedway, has been very kind to Frank Kimmel over the years. He's won 5 times here, but it's been since 2006. So this is, again, part of that resurgence we see in what could be a 10-time series champion.
Kimmel over in the second corner, closing in on lap traffic. Blake Hilliard in the 10, Thomas Prater in the 2. Prater shown in 10th position. The 10 car, meantime, being shown in 6th. Both are several laps down as we watch that battle for second. These are lead lap cars. There's your leader, Kimmel, in the 44, all by himself, having cleared more lap traffic. The 25 of Justin Boston, this Luke machine, he's got a problem over in 2, slowing down again. They've had a difficult day, ignition problems early. They should have been a contending team here today.
Very much so, and they're looking for a top 5 easy because he tested here. He said, I think I have the best car of the 4 Venturini cars here. I'm great in the center, but unfortunately, he won't be able to show it here as the results will show him, again, limping to pit road here in the 25.
We stay green. Kimmel in the 44 continues to build the lead. Coming up on 30 laps to go for Kimmel as he brings the Ansel Menards Toyota out of turn number 4. Second spot belongs to Self in the 22. Third is the 11 of Weatherman. There's Kimmel, pretty much in a class by himself. Led the first 107 laps today. Gave up the lead to Mason Mingus. And the more I watch this race unfold, Jim Trado, tell me what you think. I kind of think Frank Kimmel let this one come back to him.
And that's the great thing about a veteran like Frank. He's very calm about things. He doesn't expect to lead every lap, win every race. He said, I think I know what I have. He races what he has. If the car is a fifth-place car, he may try for fourth, but knows the big picture. Has got him 9 championships. He's also in a contention for a very fast race car. These Toyotas are being put together bulletproof. His worst finish this year has been a 6th. And you talk about how confident that young driver is at heart. He said, I can't wait to get to the racetrack.
Yeah.
For a couple of years here in the late 2000 decade, he was like, man, we just got to make it through the end of this race. And I hope I get a top 10. Now he's just saying, I think I have a car to win every race.
Good battle here. Second, third, and fourth in play as they arrow down the front straightaway at Winchester. Self in the 22 is second. Weatherman in the 11 is third. Poole in the 55 is fourth. Contact on the backside. Poole got into the back, the left rear corner of the 11 of Weatherman. Everybody stays straight. That lets Self pull away a little bit. Brendan Poole pressing the issue now with less than 30 to go.
Mentioned just his second start this year, but the Woodlands, Texas driver, 22 years of age, and that number 55, Poole, is a determined young man. Ran the full season last year. Has worked with these young drivers, where to be, where to pass. He's got the observation, really, of watching these guys go in circles, watching them and spot for them at Road America. Young drivers coming to this team. This is his chance to shine again. He raced one race this year, as I mentioned earlier, and it was a victory at Michigan.
Poole on the inside of the white 55, the Ad-Man machine, trying to work his way by Weatherman for third spot. Looks like he's got him. They're side by side coming out of turn 4. Brendan Poole on the bottom. Kyle Weatherman on the high side. Down into one, and Poole, Weatherman hanging right in there with him.
Tire management comes to play here again. Did Poole save something for this move? Because it took 2 full laps here to make that pass work. That's punishment on those right front tires.
For third spot, Brendan Poole takes that position away. Austin Self continues to run second behind the race leader, Kimmel. There is that battle, and you see Brendan Poole in the 55 starting to pull away. He's got Austin Self in his sights now. Self holding second in the 22. Kimmel unchallenged, as he's got about not quite a full straightaway lead. 25 laps to go for Frank Kimmel here at Winchester.
And Poole able to get that free pass to get back on the lead lap after early issues with a teammate, spinning in turn number 2. And he's really putting on a charge here, gapping now on the 11 car by 5 car lengths.
There's the 22 of Self, your second place car, the black machine. Spin over in turn 2. Blake Hilliard again. Caution will wave with 24 laps to go. What's that, the third time for Blake Hilliard in that exact spot, Jim Trada?
Once in practice, which cost them the left rear tail and a lot of track time yesterday in practice, getting that car fixed, and now twice in the race.
So the caution waves, and this may change the complexion of this race. This will close up the leaders once again. Frank Kimmel able to pull away several times today. We'll find out if Self has anything for him, if Poole in the 55 might have anything for Kimmel as well. Now the sun is shining. The track temperature heating up quite a bit.
And what really we'll find here is no one, I don't think, will finish on these pit stops. They're just going to stay on the racetrack and race it out.
We'll come back and put this field back under green here at Winchester in just a moment. You're watching the ARCA Racing Series, presented by Menards on the NBC Sports Network. Our NBC Sports Network coverage of the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Today, the Herrs Chase the Taste 200. We're at Winchester Speedway in Winchester, Indiana. Alongside Jim Trado, I'm Rick Benjamin. 1 lap till our restart. That will mean 19 laps to settle things today. Frank Kimmel, who led the first 107 laps, back out in front. Here's how Kimmel recaptured the lead in heavy traffic off of turn 2. Tom Hessert in that black 77, a lapped car. He was quicker, though, than the race leader, Mason Mitchell, in the 99 off a restart. And how about this? They went 3 wide for second behind him. Kyle Benjamin bounced off the wall. He just brought that car to pit road a few moments ago, running in third position. They came out to service the 11 car, put a little fuel in it. Looked like they wanted to make a wedge adjustment and make sure the sheet metal was off the right rear, Jim.
Under the 5th caution, they could not change tires. They're out of tires. So they actually just tried to get that sheet metal off. And the 99 of Mason Mitchell came down to that Happy Cheeks number 99 Ford. They looked at the left side tires. Perhaps he thought he might have had a tire loose. As he lost the lead, the car started to drift back. He was wiggling a bit on the track, and we see a bit of damage right above the left rear wheel on the fender well.
All right, green will come out this time by. Safety car dives for pit road. Lead lap cars are on the high side as they come off 4. Kimmel in the yellow 44. The 22 of Self, that's the black machine in second. Third belongs to Brendan Poole in the 55. Green and going with 19 remaining here at Winchester.
Kimmel, like he's done all day, Rick Benjamin, I tell you what, he's just out and set the pace. And we see Brendan Poole also getting Snookered by the 22 of Austin Self, has worked that inside line, but also able to get a faster charge off of turn 2 to get second.
Kimmel says, see you, boys, as he drives off into the sunset. 8 car lengths to the good over in turn 1 and 2. Self is second. The white 55 of Poole is third. I'm not so sure that Poole is a little bit quicker right now than Austin Self.
And Brendan Poole was beating himself up yesterday after practice. He said, I didn't get into turn 3 fast enough and I really needed it. So now he's really forcing the issue. His nickname is the Bull. We'll see if indeed the horns come out here as he runs third.
Nothing to hold back for now with 17 to go. Kimmel's got about a 10-car length lead as Austin Self starts to cut into that advantage a little. Now remember, you've got an interesting scenario possibly here. Self in the 22, the only guy in the field that we've seen among the quick cars, Jim, who's been able to work the bottom groove today.
And he's got to get to Frank Kimmel right now. He saw a dip off of turn 2. I think he's looking that line to see if he can gain speed. The fast way around, though, is not the bottom like it is on traditional ovals.
Kyle Weatherman in the 11 holds on to fourth. He spent a couple of laps in the lead. Very impressive in his second career start. The 99 of Mitchell, who led laps earlier, scored fifth right now. Kimmel continues to lead. There's Self in the 22, coming off the corner, running in the second position. 15 to go. There'll be 14 next time as Self makes up a little bit of ground on Kimmel that time as well.
Kimmel just flicking it off.
0.6 of a second, the gap. Wow.
Flicking it off and gaining speed on that young man.
Working lap 187 of 200 today here in Winchester. Kimmel continues to hang on. Now, getting to somebody is one thing. Passing him, especially a guy like Frank Kimmel in the last few laps, that's something else again. We'll see what happens if Self can get there.
And give credit to Self. He's not just following Frank Kimmel. He's trying to find his best line around this racetrack.
At such a young age indeed. We mentioned that Austin Self, born in 1996. He is 17 years of age, sixth in his series debut at Toledo earlier this year. Lap car Milcaduno dropping to the bottom, letting the leaders by. Working lap 189 this time by. Top group of cars stays the same. Self in the black 22, though, trying to reel in the race leader.
And the pace they're going now, they're about even. This is Frank Kimmel's race around the outside of the number 34 of Daryl Basham.
Watching the gap close, though, between the top two cars. Austin Self took another 10th out of it, less than half a second the gap as Kimmel tries to hang on. 10 to go at Winchester Speedway. Kimmel in that yellow 44, gunning for the 79th time to go to victory lane. And in the ARCA Racing Series, that would tie the all-time record held by the great Iggy Katona, who raced in this series in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Kimmel started back in the 90s. He's won 9 of these series championships. That's the all-time record. Trying to win his 79th career race here today at Winchester Speedway. Working lap 192, 8 to go this time by.
And Austin Self is trying to lower line in turn number 3, but I was told the way to get the most mileage out of trying to pass someone is coming off at turn 2. Kimmel's been better off of that second turn, a bit flatter here in the 34-degree banking. It levels out in turn number 2. It holds you in turn 4 all the way to the front stretch.
2 laps ago, Self had cut the lead down under 0.4 of a second. That time by, Kimmel had worked it back up over half a second. Lap traffic can be a factor here, certainly. 7 to go, and Kimmel maintains the lead in turn 2.
You see Kimmel now dropping down a bit to the middle groove here. Perhaps it's a way to say, I can go just about anywhere, son, yeah. So come get me.
Again, getting there's one thing. Yep. Getting by is something else again. As they work lap 194. Third place car belongs to Brendan Poole in the 55. The 2 of Thomas Prater not on the lead lap. Kyle Weatherman in the 11 car is your 4th place entry. But the race battle is between these two. Kimmel in the yellow 44, Self in the black 22, one of the Clayton Cunningham Dodges. 5 laps to go. 5 to go at Winchester for Kimmel. Frank Kimmel already the career wins leader here with 5 trips to victory lane at Winchester Speedway, going for his 6th career victory here today. As he comes up on lap traffic over in 3.
What's so impressive is Frank Kimmel is back. He's not just racing for points, he's racing for wins. This could be his 3rd win of the season. Catching that record has been a question mark for Frank Kimmel the last 4 or 5 years. This, his 3rd win this season. We're about halfway through the year. This is impressive for Frank Kimmel. He's definitely back in championship form.
But you've got to lift your hat to Austin Self in the 22 car as well. In his debut season here, made his ARCA debut at Toledo earlier, finished 6th there. 2nd right now, that 22 car. 4th in owner points. Giving himself a good starting spot. Remember, we started according to points here today. Qualifying rained out earlier in the weekend. 2 to go this time by for Frank Kimmel as they come off turn 4. 2 laps to go at Winchester.
Self able to close here, but you see Kimmel, that middle line through 1 and 2. Now as he leaves him off at turn number 2, that's where Kimmel opens up that gap, but not this time. Self is there.
White flag will be in the air next time by, and Self arrowing to the bottom, trying to cut into the race leader's advantage. White flag is in the air. We'll see how wide Kimmel makes that Toyota as they hit turn 1.
Well, Dodge himself, the number 22, has been the winner of this race the last 2 years with Dakota Armstrong and Alex Bowman. Now it's up to Frank Kimmel to record a historic win here at Winchester.
The 22 himself much better in 3. He gets there, but Kimmel closes the door, and Frank Kimmel will do it. Kimmel wins his 3rd of the season, this time at Winchester Speedway. 6th career win here. He adds to his championship lead, and he ties Iggy Katona as the winningest driver in ARCA Racing Series history. A great run for the Indiana veteran.
And Kimmel, with the net down, already knows how good that car is, and he knows how he loves to win races here in the ARCA Racing Series. Now for the 79-time record tying. That's huge. That's huge in this series.
Very consistent day for Frank Kimmel. Didn't put a wheel wrong all day. Austin Self in the 22 is scored 2nd. Brennan Poole in the 55 is your 3rd place finisher. The 11 car ends up in 4th. That's Kyle Weatherman from Owensboro, Kentucky. 4th at Salem earlier, and a nice run to 4th here today. The 99 car, 5th spot today to Mason Mitchell of West Des Moines, Iowa. But Frank Kimmel in car number 44, the Ansel Menards machine out of the Thorsport shops in Ohio, with the window down, waving to the fans here at Winchester Speedway, his home state. Very important racetrack in the history of this series. 24th time for ARCA to come here, and Frank Kimmel wins his 6th career ARCA Series event at Winchester. Take another look at the last lap bid, though, by Austin Self.
Wasn't for lack of trying. Poured it into turn 3 with everything he had, but it wasn't enough for the 9-time champ.
As our colleague Jim Trejo heads to victory lane, he'll meet our winner Frank Kimmel in just a moment. Let's show you the top 10 in the Herr's Chase the Taste 200 for the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Kimmel, your winner. 6th time here at Winchester Speedway, 3rd time this season. Young Austin Self comes home in 2nd spot. Brendan Poole, just his 2nd start of the season, runs 3rd in front of Kyle Weatherman, his 2nd career start. Day for the youngsters. Mason Mitchell, another one of the young guns, in 5th spot. Tom Hester, Blake Hilliard, Kyle Benjamin, Thomas Prater, Bill Conduno, rest of the top 10. The champ, Frank Kimmel, getting out of the race car. He'll collect that trophy in just a couple of moments. And Jim Trejo getting set, move in there. Frank Kimmel with a terrific day ties the legendary Iggy Katona atop the all-time wins board in the ARCA Racing Series 79th career trip to victory lane for Kimmel. That's the hardware Frank will collect in just a moment. All right, Jim Trejo, talk to the winner for us.
Frank Kimmel has won here at Winchester Speedway, chasing history. They had to beat you to the line, and no one seemed to have the match. Frank, talk about how huge this win is here in your home state.
Well, it is huge, and what a great race car Jared and Rich and all the guys gave me. And right from the go, we just took off, and I was running it easy and was able to get away from them. So I was just really happy with the car, and thanks to Ansel and Menards for sticking behind me. And to get this milestone's pretty big, and Duke and Rhonda Thorson and their family and Allison are all here. So really happy they were able to come here and get this and be a part of this deal. So it's pretty cool.
Tying history is now accomplished. You've tied Iggy Katona, 79 career wins, tying the all-time record here in the series. What does that mean to you?
It means we got one more to go. You know, what a thrill it is to be even mentioned with Iggy Katona. He's he's definitely our guy in ARCA. So to be there and be this close and to tie him, it's a pretty special day for me and my entire family. It's a pretty neat deal.
You can tell the emotions there, guys. And Frank Kimmel, on the chasing of history, is also chasing the 10th championship. Kimmel celebrates here in victory lane at Winchester.
Our coverage today of the ARCA Racing Series being brought to you by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs. And by Ansel Protective Products. For more than 100 years, the world leader in hand protection. And by Scott Brand. Scott Prep and cleanup solutions for contractors, do-it-yourselfers, and moms. All available at Menards. Finishing 2nd today, Austin Wayne Self is only 17. He hails from Austin, Texas, in his 2nd career start in the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards, wheeling the number 22 Cunningham Motorsports AM Technical Solutions Dodge. Self had his sights set high, and it paid off here in Winchester. Let's find out more. Jim Trejo is standing by with the young gun.
In just a second start, 17-year-old Austin Wayne Self certainly let the people know you were here, and you gave the champ everything you had. What was the difference at the end for you in finishing 2nd?
First of all, I got to thank Cunningham. You know, they gave me a really good Dodge Charger, and got to thank AMTS for getting me out here. But I think I just need a little more at the end. You know, this is first time here, Winchester, so everything was real new to me. And towards the end of the race, I started catching them a little bit. Lap cars helped me a little bit, but last 3 laps, I was either going to put it in the wall or catch that guy. And then now I know my limits, so I think next time we come here, we have something for him. But I got to congratulate him. 79 wins, that's crazy.
Talk about how you were able to massage that inside line so well, and it almost paid off for you.
Yeah, I really think we had the best car on the inside. We were able to really get a good run and pull off the corner and get beside the guy. So that helped me out a lot. But I just can't believe how good of a car we had tonight. And second feels good, but man, we wanted that win bad.
An emotional moment in victory lane for Frank Kibble as he ties Iggy Katona most career wins in the ARCA Series, 79. He'll continue his quest for an all-time mark. The NBC Sports Network coming up on Thursday, August the 15th at 11 p.m. Eastern Time when the ARCA Racing Series visits Berlin Raceway in Marne, Michigan. Don't forget, this Sunday at 3 o'clock Eastern, it's IndyCar on the NBC Sports Network with the Honda Indy 200 from Mid-Ohio. For Jim Trado and our entire crew, I'm Rick Benjamin. Thanks for watching the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards on the NBC Sports Network.